G'day folks. Well, I figured might as well try skinning one of these consoles tonight and then probably do a full autopsy. Put the PS3 aside for now. I sort of want to give that a chance to live, but this Xbox has magic smoke coming out of it. It's an unusual failure. I know most of them do the red ring of death, but this one here has just blown its power supply, or it's probably internal voltage regulation or something. It smelt like semiconductors. It wasn't caps, it was maybe a faulty voltage reg. I'll have a look at it, but for now I'm just reviewing a bit of a tutorial on how to take the case covers and things off. There are plenty of tutorials online, so I won't bore you with a 30-minute video of me trying to skin the thing. So I'm going to get right into it, pull the covers off it, which I'll post a link to whatever tutorial proves to be the best that I've found, and go from there. Likewise, I've also opened up the hard drive. These clips had already been broken off, so it's been hit pretty hard. I'm not sure if I'll trust this drive, but there's not a lot in it. It's just got a metal caddy, which I've already split apart, and a 20GB SATA hard drive with its connector cable. This should allow you to connect any SATA hard drive to an Xbox, so I'm going to be keeping this cable. But it's just a 20GB Hitachi, essentially. Very generic hard drive. I'll try it. I'll just put an operating system on it and use an external hard drive on the laptop to store games and things like that. But that's about it. There's really nothing else of value in there. So we'll get into skinning this thing, which is a fairly tricky task. You do need a multi-tool, but I'm going to try and pop them apart. You can see I've already tried to pop some of them, but I have to take the front faceplate off apparently, so you push in on there and pull up and you should be able to release it. Yeah, the USB port flap is part of the release. Interesting. Very sleek design without any visible screws, but they can be a bit of a pain to get open. Whereas a PS3, you can pop this top off you take that security screw out. This one's busted, and then you can access all the chassis screws, which are all Phillips heads. There's only the one Torx screw in there, and the top comes off. So PS3 is definitely a lot easier to service, or at least this first generation one. So let's clear the table, get the autopsy victim on the table, and start pulling bits off. Well, I figured I'd try and see what's on this little hard drive, but clearly Microsoft has it formatted as something else because it's not showing up in the my computer rundown. I can't access anything. Yeah, it just comes up with my local disk, but that's about it, which is unfortunate. Obviously Microsoft format it in a different way for this. It is running, it's powered, it's plugged in, but it is not working. So there goes that idea. It did come up as the hard drive type. It said found new hardware H whatever it is, the model number of the drive, and installed it. But there's no just no access to it, so oh well, worth a try. I'm guessing I have to boot it up with a Windows disk in the drive and format it or something like that, in which case any games and things that are on it will be gone. It's only 20 gigs, so there can't be many games unless they're really small ones, but if you look at something like Saints Row or something, that's like 12 or 14 gig. So there goes 3/4 of your usable hard drive space. So anyway, let's get back to it. Okay, well that wasn't too hard. Lots of little snap hooks. I mean, I was pretty brutal getting it apart. I mean, if you really care about it, you wouldn't probably be as brutal as I was, but yeah, releasing snap hooks and driving screwdrivers in between things generally gets it apart. So that worked okay. As far as the other side cover, you got to remove all these screws. The ones with the cylindrical head, not the domed button head or pan head. So there's a number of those around, and the whole top assembly comes off. As you can see, they're screwed through, and there's the internals. Not too bad, it's only one board. Last time I was inside one of these, it had been run over by a Range Rover a number of times, so everything was squished in. This one's nicely, well, clean. It's really clean. Even the heatsink's got very little dust on it. But let's open it up a bit more and find out where that smell was coming from. Even put power back to it and see what it does. Okay, well, I powered this on for a second and it immediately started red ringing. It didn't smoke or do anything silly, Power supply's working like normal. I don't know. I mean, I didn't have this connected, and I've been told that without the multi-pin AV connector it will red ring anyway. I get red ringed and then it went down one digit, it dropped that digit. So let's try this again. The power supply is idling nicely, it's not automatically loading up at like a short circuit. The fan, as soon as I plug it in and power it up, the fan would just die, like it was running really slow. Yeah, 3 segments, not a full ring. Still nothing on the display. But then again, it might be detecting the loss of this drive. I guess I better put that in as well. That's IR. That's that. Let's shut it off, plug this drive in and see what happens. Okay, try again. Power. Power. And we still get at least a partial red ring of death. Yeah, it won't eject. Where's the front cover? Not too sure what that is, probably. I don't know. It is plugged into AV2 and not getting any display on AV2, so one can only assume that it's dead. Don't know what that's all about. Anyway, I guess I'll pull it apart anyway, and I won't destroy the board, I'll just keep it, and if anyone's got any ideas. Probably stuffed. Just because that other segment isn't lighting up doesn't mean it's not a full red ring of death. It's just a partial red ring of death. It did light up before. Yeah. Reset or something. Anyway, sort of my first experience with a working Xbox. I can't say I've ever really used one before, at all. I know that's sad, but I'm a PC gamer, not a console gamer. Yeah, let's strip this thing down and put it aside for later, but I'll show you the main board first. Okay, well I found what was burning. I guess that part's gone open circuit now. That little semiconductor and those 4 surface mount resistors are toast. The SMDs have a little white spot burned in them, and that one there is a nice little spot burned in it. That's what I could smell. Don't know where it goes. I'm guessing it's part of the voltage regulation. And it's probably why it's throwing up that partial red ring. I mean, the GPU and CPU solder might be alright, but the rest of this board's probably trashed. Don't know what that did, but it's dead now. You can see the underside of the, I think the CPU there, with the RAM chips around it. Or no, sorry, the one with the big caps and the main power regulation would be the CPU, that one there with all those tiny SMD resistors. And that would be the GPU, I guess. Yeah. Interesting stuff. There's not a lot else on the bottom of this board. It's a couple more regs. Another one of that PH69 8CP51, same as that one. But that one's still okay. At least it looks okay. I guess I better rip these heat sinks off and we'll have a closer look at the other side. But overall there's not much. It's not analog devices. ADP 3188 analog devices IC. That one there is, not sure what the brand stamp is on it is, but it's a NCP 5331. Interesting stuff. Let's turn the board over and remove these heat sinks. Oh, and of course, yeah, it's RAM. RAM chips, probably for graphics RAM, video RAM. Okay, well the main board's pretty straightforward. That's the main CPU up there, and that's GPU with something else attached to it. There's another chip on that assembly, which is kind of interesting. There's various voltage regulators and things. That's probably interface, because that's where the AV sockets and things are. There's also an Ethernet and a USB port, so it's probably like a south bridge of sorts. Its code number is XSB, or XSB chip X02047-012. And it says GPU on it. Doesn't really say who it's made by. Yeah, not sure who makes them. That's an X CPU X02046-005. Interesting stuff. A lot of good caps on this too. All the electrolytics. They are Nichicon 2200 microfarad 6.3 volts and 1500 microfarad 16 volts. So not a bad idea to keep them. But yeah. There's more RAM on the top there. More around the side. They're all BGA chips as well. Lead-free solder and ball grid chips, not so good. And that one there is ANE X02014-007. So it's another part of the interface, I think. Yeah. It's more power regulation, CPU voltage regulation. There's loads of that. That CPU pulls a lot of power. The whole thing uses 17 amps, which is right on the peak of what the power supply I was feeding it with can do. So yeah, it's pretty tough stuff. So get my contact cleaner. I use that to get the bloody silver based heatsink paste off it. But they're just RAM chips again, the same as what's on the top side. VRAM, video RAM. So yeah, there's a bit of a look at the 360 mainboard. If you got one that doesn't work and you don't mind pulling it apart, I recommend doing it. It's an interesting experience trying to get the case apart. And the mainboard looks pretty cool. So yeah, I need a bigger camera for close-ups, but I really need a proper filming area, a booth with proper lighting, incandescent lighting. It's really hard getting good close-ups of mainboards without glare like that, or just going out of focus. It takes a lot of work to get a really nice shot of it. Profile view like this looks good, but I don't know, only got so much time in the day to do this sort of stuff, so that's what you get. You know my channel's very basic when it comes to video quality. Anyway, that's the end of that one, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the PS3 autopsy and possible repair. This one here I'm not going to bother repairing, it's pretty well blown, but we'll have a go at the PS3 instead.